Like, first it was Locomir, second PAB, and now it's the fucking Rejuve gem. Like, I need to just start bringing my warrior there. I feel like if DFT dropped, I would just get it. Just like, based off the luck I have.
Is someone streaming the review to be watched while we're reviewing it, or are we just having a
Yeah.
discussion?
Yeah, Tunnel Boy will.
I just posted it.
Yeah, but so this is what I need to be looking at, that's what you're saying?
Welcome, Snane.
Yo. What's up, man?
Wow. Interrupting me watching Tony Hawk Pro Skater on.
I feel like you.
Whoa.
I feel like you do that.
Sorry.
Anyways.
Dude, is that gonna be? I hope they're gonna release it on the PC with multiplayer. That'd be best.
It's almost that time, boys.
Mm. Getting real horny.
Tonight's gonna be a triple onslaught girdle.
Hope so.
What's tonight? Oh, GDKP Mongor.
Yeah.
When does it
If
start?
BRE, I don't even know. That's gonna fucking suck. Like, imagine just BRE and fucking onslaught drop, and you're like, which one do I bid high on?
What time does the MC start?
MC is at 9, but most people don't need to be in MC comms.
Are you an MC?
I am on my priest, but I'll be in here.
you have how many screens?
I've got 6 monitors, dude.
Dude, it's not enough.
Just kidding. I've got 2.
I'm a peasant. I only have 2 monitors as well.
On a fucking desk space for more than 2 monitors.
I could possibly hit 3. I don't know.
I could hit 4 and I want to mount a TV.
Oof, oof.
I have 2 and a mounted TV.
Do
I don't know if
hear
I want to go
5?
4 or get like a 47-inch curved ultra wide and get a TV, or just get 2 more monitors.
So this is the first desktop I've had in a very long time. I think I've had a laptop for the last 12 years. And I got a curved 27, which it's nice. Feels good. I wasn't too sure it was going to be
I got
cooler
a pair.
than the normal one.
I got a pair of 27, not curved.
Well, the price was decent, so I was like, fuck it, let's try it out.
Yeah, thankfully monitors aren't too expensive.
Oh, on
nowadays.
on Cyber Monday last year, I think they had a 144 hertz 1ms monitors going for like 150.
Nice doggy.
Doggo.
My bad. My push to talk button is the same as my in this game.
It's better than cats screaming, you know?
I almost said Arcadis, quit beating your cat.
There'll probably be a few woofs and meows in the background for my raid review stream because it's an open mic.
Oh well.
We can probably just mute the stream and listen to Discord, yeah.
No, the stream is muted. Oh yeah, you can mute my stream too. For sure.
Yeah, like stream in a stream.
Yeah. But some people are gonna watch the recording later, so
That is true.
Wait, so we have to watch a stream?
if you want to see
Yeah,
what we're
that's-
talking about,
Yeah,
it's
that's
in
how it'll work.
announcements.
That's how I'll work it. I can probably give it another couple minutes and we can just start. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'm hitting play.
I'll just say one thing about this trash. There's a weak aura that'll tell you the abilities for each of these sentinels. That's what I use to call out the kill order, and it's probably worth just having everybody have it at this point. I'll post it in an add-on just channel after this.
I'll say something too right here. So I think Raid 1's got some expectations to take off some time next week, and this is 1.5 speed, so we probably wasted like 2 minutes in between that first Eradicator and then Nubisath pull. So we'll probably avoid things like that moving forward.
Yeah, trash. One of my notes for trash in general is just we need to have less downtime in between. That's always going to be the biggest time waster. It wasn't BWL, and once we started, pulling, then it got a little bit better. You just have to be a little bit safer about that in this dungeon. But these guys are easy, super easy. Also, I'm going to try to encourage people to show up to trash farms every week. Mounts, rep, and epics.
We got
All worth it.
We got 7 keys, I think, yesterday.
Yeah. It's going to help with your prio too. Like if you show up and you come to these, then you're going to have the rep needed to get the token. So you'll get prio over someone else who's still hated.
Well, we'll keep the prios, but essentially if someone can't wear it, it'll just go down.
Right. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
So we can do. I don't think we need to watch Scarum. I would like to watch Bug Trio.
Okay.
We can watch Scarum if you want, just to kind of point out something, but it's going to be a joke each week.
Yeah,
The only thing I'd say is just make sure we have at least one arcane pot, and that's probably all you need. The mark remains the same on the real Scarum. Maybe we can just watch it get killed, so raid 2, raid 3 people can watch.
What? Scare him?
Yeah, I don't know.
You can also target the pet Arcadis, and they never go off him.
Always kill Mind Flayer, easy peasy. One of the things I noticed for raid 1 is like when we get to those padding warriors after Scarum and after Bug Trio, we should catch them on their first pat. We don't need to let them run away and wait forever for it to pat back. That was a huge time waster. Standing around waiting for them to pat back, and then we actually realized that we'd already killed them. So just keeping better track of that.
Are you showing something, or are you just going over it out of you?
Rhett's streaming right now. It's in
Send
Discord
announcements.
announcements.
Yeah, looks like we're doing decent. We got 22 people in watching. So
Yeah, so every raid should be structured the same by this point. We got 2 tanks, 2 interrupters, 2 healers, 2 mages per platform. Super easy.
if Kriegs is right here, that kind of means that we're not taking like any arcane damage either.
No, I mean it's very minimal. It's only when they split that you really start to see any arcane explosions go out at all. Otherwise, they're all interruptible. It might just take a second. One might get off because it's someone's slow to
Should we
rotating.
continue to Curse of Tongues because that's what the Warlocks have been doing, or should we start pumping?
I
some
actually, I don't know. If y'all have been doing it since the start, I don't know the difference between
Pretty big.
his normal cast, and I think it's worth it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be a damage
So-
fight, so it's whatever.
yeah.
Quick question for the tanks. When I'm taking Scarum, his clone, and I see regular Scarum right next to me, and nobody's picked him up yet, is it an emergency to pick him up? Or
Yeah, I mean, if you're assigned, are you assigned in the middle?
I'm assigned
Like,
to
are
the
you
left side?
assigned? Your job is just to immediately taunt after a teleport.
Of course.
You don't want
but
to turn in and hitting anyone.
Yeah,
So wait, what was your
sometimes
question?
Scarum gets loose and he gets onto my platform.
Yeah, I think go ahead and taunt him, and then whoever's responsible for tanking him in the middle will just taunt him back.
Alright.
It's not that much of a tank damage. So this is what I was talking about. This hallway. Try to catch that pat on that first rotation. Try to get them all low, kill them all at the same time, and then mass AoE all the little bugs. If you do it out of order, it's fine. They still die super fast.
You're talking about the pack on the left, right?
The pack on the left, there's like a 3 padding bug team. I think they're the Warriors. Yep. When they die, they'll split into tiny ads. I think we killed one here in a second, and there's another one that pats down to the right. And then on our way back up, when we started clearing towards Sarchira, so there's the first pat. We waited a while, waiting for them to pat, realizing that, oh wait, we already killed them. So
I paused it too, not to interrupt, but has any healer experimented with outranging the Brainwasher?
face pull right there.
Yeah.
You can LOS. I don't know. The outrange is like 25 to 30 yards plus.
Okay.
So maybe if you're
It's doable.
fully maxed range, it's doable. But
I just want to see if we can begin to create pulls, like the tanks can start pulling, or the hunters can pull, and the tanks pick it up, in a way that's convenient for positioning for healers and casters as well. Because I think that's going to be a big weakness post Twin Imps trash. Like positioning can help you or fuck you pretty hard.
Hunter's pulling those 2 packs there. I've just been letting the tanks kind of go in, just because of the stairs and shit and positioning. So I don't want to pull them and have them come halfway up, and then it's just awkward.
I think the most
I think sending
ideal,
pets is probably the best.
we
so,
could
'cause you
potentially
run-
tank them where they're at, or tank the Brainwasher where he's at, like down
The
at
issue
the
with that
bottom.
is the fear, or at least the first pack you definitely could. You can just jump down on top of them. This pack you definitely want to pull back though, because if you get feared into the room, you'll either aggro that pet or you'll aggro the boss. Melt the Mind Slayers as fast as you can. That's just going to be your biggest time saver here. Like just get rid of the actual CC mobs first, and then just cleave down the Guardians. This boss was our first mistake. We didn't properly talk about the difference between killing Kree last and killing, I think,
Yaj
them last, which is how we
will
normally
be
do it.
doing it. Yaj will be last.
I think we
but
normally
we'll-
kill. Okay. The issue is when we killed Kree last, there's an in range, and you can see at the end of this kill, it killed Problazer and Mugu. So we needed to let the healers know, hey, there's going to be a lot more tank damage coming in, and also have our tanks wear gear closer to like twin imps type gear, higher mitigation. I ended up picking up Kree at the very end, and I had a shield wall, and that's the only reason I didn't die.
So yeah, we're gonna be doing something similar as we did here, but instead of killing Yaj right here, we'll be killing Kree. Yaj will be tanked off to the side, and then we'll all kill them. Something will pause right here since we have a kind of.
We normally wait, so that's different than what we normally do though. We normally kill Yauj second, and we kill Kree first, then Yauj, then Vem. Pretty sure.
Okay. The plan going into that night was Yaj last, and then Quanta corrected us so that he could get an item.
Right.
Okay.
That's so what our rotation would be, like 1 on, 1 off, meaning 1 we kill them last, 1 we kill Kree last.
Well, it depends on what loot we're trying to get. And we can talk about this later. But the shadow resist rings for twin imps tanking is off of Yaj's last kill, and I thought we wanted to prio that. But yeah, we can have that in officer chat and then discover. Either way, what like the gist is, bring one of them to the side, either Yaj or Kree, whoever we need to get rid of, depending on who we have last, because they're the most dangerous. Vem's not, and then we'll kill the next two depending on the order. Over here, if y'all can see my mouse. But for healers, a good thing to look at is I can't see the name, but whoever is right here is probably in like a prime real estate location, and then even this warlock might be Snifsy. Because what you can do is you can actually outrange like 2 things, right? You can outrange the poison if we have Kree being tanked right here in the spot, and you can outrange the fear if Yaj is right here. So we have 2 healers, I think, each assigned to dispelling only. It might be 3 actually, but at least 2. And you want to make sure you're in that prime real estate area, because what happens is you're going to want to instantly dispel the other healers when they get feared. It's a dispellable fear, so you want to make sure you're dispelling that fear. And then obviously if there's poisons all over the place and you have I think we assign paladins, okay, then we can have the paladins dispelling poisons as well from afar without getting hit by it. So it's a big deal. It's gonna make that fight a lot easier.
This fear is big for sure. Anytime we kill Kree last like this, gotta be prepped. Gotta have last stand, life giving gem, build wall, anything like that. We can probably slow it down a little bit slower for that kill, but you can see Sledge, Pro, Mugu all just died. He enrages and just hits like a truck. So when you're doing this, keep in mind how hard he hits. Healers need to be prepped, tanks need to be prepped, and just prepare for each different mechanic whenever you change the order up. Losing Problazer and Mugu this early caused a ton more wipes throughout the raid because everyone else was juiced with DMF and they don't have it. It's probably one of the things that killed us a lot throughout the rest of the instance. Unfortunately. One of my notes I have is just make sure you have 6 tanks assigned. Make sure you have healers assigned to heal more than just the first 3 to 4 or 5 main tanks. A lot of the trash in here is going to be, upwards of 5 to 6 tanks at times. Pretty much, if you're a warrior in AQ40, you're expected to tank in some sort of fashion.
Let's do a quick training exercise for mages and paladins too. So these pulls are great for like AoE damage, and like if we're zooming, then obviously we're gonna want to capitalize on cleave. Problem is that these guys will fuck you up if you get too close, and it's easy to pull threat. So mage, if you're gonna go in there, you have to have 2 things ready to go. You need to have a lip, and you need to have a paladin on standby, and you need to have preemptively communicated with your said paladin and have a macro ready so that you can get a bop right after the lip, because these dudes could potentially kill you and they're blowing people up. So
I think just waiting, kill Skull, single target, and then by the time Skull's dead, there should be enough threat on all the others to start AoEing heavily. We usually that pull's been pretty clean in the past. It's weird not having your camera angle, like you can't really see what's going on if you're a tank, but do your best just to back yourself up into the wall as best you can. This is probably another point where we can be chain pulling. Like you can see, healer mana is above 50% after that pull. Have a hunter watching that pat. There is a pat of guardians that goes through this tunnel. As soon as you see them pat away from the next pull, there they are right there running by. The warriors. As soon as you see those run by, DCR chicken, go ahead and pull the next set of these mobs, 6 mobs, and then we can actually move down the tunnel like we do now and kill the warriors where they're coming at us like that. Yep. One of the biggest things for speedrunning and trying to make a quick pace is if you're a healer and you're drinking like Kriegs is right now, you need to always run up to where the tank is standing and drink where he is. Don't start drinking in the back line, because then you're literally playing catch up to come heal. This pull could have been done a lot better. I think instead of pulling it back all the way we came, I think we can move into them, and there's actually another column closer to where they pulled from that we could use, and we had a hard time keeping track of these ads. We kept getting knocked up, and there was so much split damage without control that tanks were just constantly getting knocked up. You can see we had 3 deaths. Just a little bit more control. So I think all tanks moving into that trash pack, kind of up to where Pro or whoever that Thunder Fury is up there running, kind of taking him right next to that column would be better, at least establishing the pull. Kind of forward movement is always the name of the game with speedrunning. You don't really want to be pulling back ever. Obviously, you have to at some points, but for anyone viewing right now, Rhett posted his stream in the announcement channel. That's what we're watching right now and doing commentary on. So cheer, yeah, go ahead. This is a good one.
So actually, look at Kriegs. What a fucking chat. So we got a really prime setup in this pull, and every pull's not gonna be like this, but we got stuns on all of the ads. They're all in a cleave spot. This should be a time to pump on like AoE damage and get them all down and low as possible. And the meta might even evolve into like everybody pushing in and zappering and stuff like that if we have lips up. But the rest of the fight will always be the same. And I think the biggest key to surviving their spins is obviously lips, mobility. And not everyone is a mage with a blink. So if you can, I always have movement Zanza up all the way up until like twin imps. But if we end up not needing that stamp later, then we can just continue to keep it at 20% bonus movement speed. And it might even be worth it if you're not getting any major bonuses out of your boots right now. Or, I mean, I doubt it's going to help you kill the boss or parse any any greater than you're normally going to do on this fight, but I'm just going to wear rocket boots because you can get in and out and do your damage and optimize and be totally safe by doing so. So that's just my little tidbit. Look at Creeks. Looking, he did it too. What a fucking Chad.
One of my notes for raid 3 was when we did this fight, we didn't have stuns going out on Sarchia fast enough after the whirlwinds, and a couple of times she went from whirlwinding into another whirlwind. You really, really, really want to be on top of having a Hodge right when she gets out of the whirlwind so that you can get maximized DPS. So it's really important, you know, if you want to have this clean, you want to have minimal deaths, you need to have optimal stuns. It's the biggest thing about that fight.
One more quick note on that is coverage is really important. And now that we have pretty much mount for everyone, like there might be like, I don't know, 5 to 6 people that don't have one, but especially when we get full mounts for the entire raid group, healers need to spread as much as possible. So I would say like communicate prior to that pull in healer chat, claim like a back spot and a side, like left, right, or west and east, whatever you want to call it, but make sure that you guys have plenty of coverage to heal the entire raid. Same thing for this. I think what we want to do in the gauntlet moving forward is actually stay mounted into this tank. I forget what they're called. I thought they're just called scarab tanks or something, but soldier, sorry, the soldier, because we could easily handle the AoE damage that's necessary and the damage coming onto the tanks from those little ads, and save some time by just pushing in on them out.
So I don't know for certain, but I've heard that as soon as you get into combat with these bugs in the tunnel, they dismount you. I know on private servers it was different, but
I think it's if you take damage, you're supposed to get dismounted, so that might be why.
Yeah, it's any combat you get
Oh, really?
dismounted.
Okay.
Yep. Unless it's a scarab lord.
I don't know, it's always clean. Just keep moving. Name of the game. Stay grouped, keep moving. It's way easier than suppression room. Less mobs have a lot less health. The only thing with this one is I would suggest putting group loot on before you do the tunnel, because the blue mobs do drop keys and other loot. So switch to group loot after Startura, switch it back before Pancras.
I also think we could probably skip whatever we're doing right now and go straight into Fangris. Goddamn it, pro. Fangris.
Yeah, I made that call as soon as we got into position here.
Yeah.
Pretty sure. Or maybe it was raid 3.
Yeah, well, this is 1.5 speed, so we probably did use a minute, like sitting in that spot.
Yeah, I see. Right there, I made the call. But we could definitely move right in. We don't need to go to the corner
Fangris
spot.
is so fucking fast. It's just,
Stack up faster on the butt here. No matter what raid you're in, just immediately move to his butt. That was threat rip.
that looks like a potential. I mean, actually, we'll kill it so fast, I don't think it's worth skipping anyways. You want to break down the next poll?
Yeah, 1 second.
He's killing Molten Core, guys.
No, I'm not. I'm eating pasta. These polls.
Hey, Sadian, what's up, man?
I know I said earlier that we want to be forward movement. It's the name of the game. But this is gonna be hunter polls. No one should ever be past where triangle is on these polls until we get at least 2 or 3 packs down. These are very cleavable. These are very easy polls. But if you pull too much of them, then it can become a little bit chaotic. The stingers should always be faced away. They do the poison. They do the poison volley, and the lashers do the whirlwind. So kill the stingers first. You can eliminate their poison. Pull the lashers out, like Mugu is up there, and then blow up all the wasps when they're all
Yeah.
together.
So this poll, we got a double
you
wasp
can-
in front. So I mean, some damage went out early. That's fine. We killed one like instantly, and then we have the stinger.
The wasps die so fast, so even just by cleaving off
Yeah.
the stinger, they're gonna die.
If they come together, I guess that's the prio. And then if the wasp like come way ahead, then just melt them because they die in like 4 seconds.
Please
Yep.
pre-spill the hunters. If we get charged, we can live it. If we're not poisoned, but we need as much coverage as possible.
Pre-shield, is that what you said?
Yeah, like mana shit.
Yep. Power word shield. Pretty much eliminate anything that Pat's left, and then you can kind of move into the next few mobs.
So we've been killing everything right here too, but I think once we've gotten comfy, we'll probably start skipping a lot of the trash in this room. Creek's posted in chat, but this is also a good time for Greater Nature going into Hoo-Hoo. All right, so we ate up some time going over whatever we were going over.
Huron, my biggest note is for raid 2 and 3 people, you guys need to have NR. Like at this point in the release, if anyone who's melee doesn't have NR, you're really holding the rest of the raid back. You need it for Hugh, you need it for Visk. Those are the 2 biggest ones. Any type of mitigatable damage from NR is going to be helpful for this fight. And then another issue is dispels. You don't want to be dispelling the melee on this fight. It's a sleep that helps with the aggro drop. So if you are dispelling slept melee, you're essentially killing them because the boss will just turn and kill the melee.
We did fuck that up here too. I think we had 2 dispels on our melee, which caused them to die, and that pressured the healers trying to keep up with that damage, and it was nuts. And then I dispelled pro when
The only person you should ever dispel on this fight is the tank.
Yeah.
The tanks. Which, to begin with, should not be getting slept, which means we did a poor job stacking. You want to make
that up.
It looks like pro might even be a little bit inside the hitbox too. I don't know how true that is. I haven't main tank, but you can see him slept right there, and then those two melee got dispelled, so they died as well.
I might replay it real quick.
Don't dispel the melee. Yeah.
Arcadis, do you want the hunters soaking for that fight, or do you want us like ranged and tranking? Because I can like soak and pop out to trank, but I'll do no damage. Or I can stand out and just shoot.
The issue I see with that is if you guys go into soak and get slept, then we have no trank. In raid 1, we have enough melee with NR. We should. But what you could do is assign either one of the hunters, either you or Chicken, to stay in and soak.
Do we have a timer
Obviously, it's nice
for those sleeps?
like how long they last.
No.
I think it's either
Like the time
When they
the
go
time
out?
in between they go out. Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. that's
I
fine.
think the first one goes out around 30% for raid 1.
Okay. So all right, we got some sleeps. Pro did get one.
I think I'm
Yeah.
a little bit behind your stream. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Yet.
I think it's a little delayed. Rended and FFX just died on mine. And then Pro gets dispelled.
So
and dies.
yeah, Pro hasn't gotten slept yet, but he's about to. There it is. It's gonna turn, kill FFX, Rended, and then Pro actually dies too because no one dispelled him.
No, I
So
did
he's not
dispel him,
mitigating.
and that's why he died, because he took a lot of damage. I dispelled him at like 80% health, and it dropped him. And then I went to hit him with the big heal, and no one else, including myself, could hit him with the heal fast enough, so he died. So yeah, I mean, we fucked up by dispelling 2 other people, and then we're pressured to heal our main tank. Another good note is Priest can start just throwing powered shields up at like 40% who health, just because by the time she hits 30, you might have gotten like 4 or 5 shields out at best. All right, I can speed it back up. So yeah, that ate some time as well. We got 4 deaths, so that's 4 reses. I mean, 1.5 speed. We're already we lost what, 30 plus seconds, probably a minute, honestly. And then we're gonna chat because we like to chat.
This is the trash that I don't want to sit around and talk about, but it's the one that we need the most work on across all 3 raids. Having 2 groups is optimal. Like, you need to have 1 melee, 1 range group. However, one of the things I noticed when I was on my priest in raid 3 is the thunderclap is extremely long. The range on thunderclap is long, so you really need to be almost max ranged, casting heals and any other caster abilities. Another thing is, staying grouped on the right side allows for that whole left side of the hallway to be used for plague. As you can see how we're hugging the right. Plague has been a killer as well. You need to keep healing people while they have the plague, and you need to make sure that when you get the plague, you run back against the wall and make room for new people to take your spot. Stay within range. Stay within range of the healers. So there's plague, a couple ticks on the melee. It's not the worst. There's Nipsey. He needs to take Wasabi's spot. Anytime you get Shadow Bolt volley with plague, it's tricky. It's a short range, but one of the things I found that helped is moving actually behind the boss and kind of making a 360 around him. Just make sure that you're not standing on top of other people, especially anyone who doesn't have the plague, and especially not anyone who does. Because if you're plagued and you're next to someone else who has plague, it's just double damage. Thankfully, we killed that quick enough, but that was a nasty combo for sure. Plague and Shadow Bolt.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple options you could do too. Like if you're going all out, you could like toss a Greater Shadow protection on and hope that's enough. But honestly, I'd say if like you're a DPS class, give the healers those prime time spots on the plague, and if you feel like you're not gonna be able to put any damage into them, maybe run back all the way out of Shadow Volley range and just in range of your healer squad. So like you can get healed through plague, but not killed. It's gonna be a judgment call for sure.
Just stay grouped, listen for the calls. It's really important that everyone understands these mechanics by now. You shouldn't have to clutter comms with too much talking. You got it's a very you just need to react to what the encounter is. Plagues, you got to move out, you got to spread. We're doing a bad job right there with people running next to each other. I'm still in the raid next to people with plague right there. That's not good. Just do your part to understand the mechanic and try to minimize deaths as best you can.
One more thing, and Arcadis, this is more of a question for you. I think it would be a good idea to assign our Fury Warriors, DPS Warriors, to the ads that they spawn. Since Rogues obviously going to lose out on combo points, and Warriors could probably shred the Warriors or the Lashers, I think is what they're called. Like, it doesn't matter what mob they spawn, Warriors can probably make quick
Yeah.
work of them, and then get back on the
We
main
have
target.
we have one tank assigned for melee. We have one tank assigned for ranged. But the melee DPS should definitely priority ads that spawn because we can just cleave them down right away.
Yeah, like I know the casters will put some damage into them because like the mobs have a reflect, right? So if I see a shadow reflect as a warlock, I'm gonna help kill those ads because I'm gonna get more optimal damage out of it. And same thing with mages, I'm sure. Like if it's fire immune then or fire reflect, then they're probably gonna start doing some fire damage to these mobs. But it'll always be optimal for a Fury Warrior to do it. So I think the amount that we have in our raid group, it should be quick work if they're all doing it.
I agree.
On a raid 3, when we were tanking the ads, it was Hottenheim, and there were no DPS on it. We were calling every DPS to get on. We were really like the healers were struggling trying to heal us.
Yeah.
It was me, Addy, and the 2 tanks. Those were the only warriors attacking them.
Okay. So make that abundantly clear to them. And hopefully they'll watch this VOD as well, but that's a big deal. And whenever you make calls, make sure that they understand like, hey, casters that are getting reflected, pitch in. Anybody that's a Fury Warrior, pitch in.
We also don't run nearly as many Fury Warriors as Raid 1 or 2.
Yeah, so but you run a bajillion mages and a few warlocks, to my knowledge, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say maybe designate a few casters then, like that the mage core.
Well, that's just
for raid 3.
that was just one thing I noticed.
Yeah. We didn't lose anyone there.
These are the trickiest pulls in the entire instance. You could argue the trash after twins is as well, but this has been giving us the most trouble. Absolutely. Across all 3 raids. You know, it's a lot of damage going out. It's a race, honestly, to kill them before they do more damage to you than you've done to them. And it's just a really, like, everyone needs to be on point and not spread damage out as best they can. And they also need to listen to the call to either move in, stay out, or, you know, react to whatever their ability is. This is a good hallway to definitely have health pots handy for both, you know, probably not so much for a healer, but any DPS should probably be using health pots on this trash.
Another thing I'm seeing with the upcoming pool that you guys are about to watch, we got a couple of deaths, but I think it's from mismanagement. We didn't pull the Anubis Hath to the right wall, so that made things a little hectic. And then our off tanks pulled the Warriors to the right wall instead of the left wall. And it looks like not enough DPS was helping them out. So same situation right there was talking about. There's so many Anubis Warriors up that they get overwhelmed. I don't know what our healers died to. Maybe aggro on the extra ads.
Twin Imps, I would like to watch this at normal speed. We actually did a really, really clean job, and honestly, it'd probably help if people did have comms open for this, so you could listen to the calls. You could tell the comms were completely clear. You could hear melee out. You could hear when to take a break and kill the ads in between, and you could see the dance that the Warlock and the main tank do. That's the most important thing about this fight that I don't think people fully grasp until they successfully complete it with their counterpart. You know, the best way I can say it is when the warrior tank is tanking on the right, you know, he's got initial aggro on that first pull. Melee are doing fine. Teleport happens. That warlock is immediately starting to gain threat, but the warrior tank is going to hold aggro for at least 3 to 4 shadow bolts. This will happen quite often. That's perfectly fine, but the warrior tank who's tanking on that right side on the first teleport, don't move until you see the aggro switch to the warlock. If you run to the warlock when you still have aggro on the caster, as soon as you get into melee range, as soon as that melee range gets to the warlock, he's going to Arcane Explosion. He's going to kill both you and the warlock, and then you have to basically wipe. So once again, on the right side, when the teleport happens, you stand still, let the warlock start to pick up threat. As soon as you see threats transition to them, then you can move behind them. And then in preparation for the following teleport, which means the melee ad's coming back to your side again, you can step in front of the warlock, even while he's tanking the caster. And then as soon as you see the teleport happen, you run up and hit the mob. You always want to be the closest to the boss right before the melee teleport. Hopefully that was clear enough. I'm actually going to turn on comms a little bit for this fight.
Moving him into position. Just get him at the bottom of the stairs. The melee tank will move him into position.
All right, guys, clean it up. Let's go.
Pulling in 2, 1. Sniffs, go ahead.
So you have the stream muted. Can you unmute the stream?
I did.
Give pro time for that.
Yeah, please.
So there's
Plenty of
actually
time, doesn't hurt.
2
Just get some
learnings
things out.
off of the pull whenever you guys see it.
Double parry.
Kriegs is only
Looks like
watching
you
the
have a
right side,
decently
but the right side pulled on pull. What they need to do,
I will do the callouts for melee out. Please
is
listen.
pull after the warlock
Melee
pulls. Like the warlock pulls, and then the hunter can
You have this
instant
bug on us?
damage and pull. Like there's no reason
Stop
for the
in the
hunter
middle.
to be
Wait
part
until
of the pull
Mugu
count.
has aggro.
The warlock has complete control of it,
Let him get in position, guys.
and that'll make that transition
Stairs, Mugu.
on the pull
Watch
very,
out for the
very
blizzard.
easy.
Please don't run into the blizzard.
Um,
While you wait for his threat. Triangle's perfect positioning. I talked to Cordon about this. So even pro right there, he shouldn't be
A whirlwind
like he's in
stairs,
range of the shadow bolts. That's okay, but if he
Melee out.
moves too far, then
Go smash bug.
that thing will walk up to him and Arcane Explosion.
Wait for the blizzard. Wait for pro.
I
Wait for the blizzard. Wait for pro.
disagree just by a little bit. Like, all right, so the
Hold
perfect
off.
position is actually just like 10 yards to
It's
the left of
happened
where the
sometimes,
Emperor
guys.
is right
Hold.
now,
There it is.
because that allows the
Wait for pro to get it.
warlock to not be
Got it.
too close in case there is kind of some buggy
Control
shit
fight,
that goes
guys. Keep it
down,
up.
Right.
and allows the healers to spread more. You
Keep
can
pro up.
take way
heals, big
more of a
heals.
radius, so that you're not all in like a clump. Like, look at this: one blizzard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
Keep it
people,
clean,
including the warlock,
Keep it controlled.
are
Melee out.
fucked.
Yeah.
on that
So
stair.
so I like that actually because the warrior tank is
Mugu.
like theoretically taking
There it is.
himself away from the aggro that the warlock might have, and so if he were to step forward, it's towards the warrior, not towards the warlock. So, you know, while he's eating those shadow bolts, he can be on the opposite side of the boss, kind of where those yellow bugs are, yellow scarabs, and
Melee out.
the warlock's just doing his thing until he gets threat. So I
Stay
do
in
agree
mid,
with
wait
that
for the transition.
position in. Biggest thing is don't leave your post until the warlock has aggro. And you can see how close Pro is right now. Like he's standing, you know,
There's a transition.
as close as the
Pro has
warlock
it.
is, but he's ready to step in as soon as that teleport happens. Even look at that, like
Keep
he's almost in melee
heals,
range of
guys.
him, and he's
Pop in
knocking
and zoom
Arcane
guys, you got
Explosion. That's about as safe as you can be, and then obviously moving in underneath him for aggro.
Melee out. Kill the scorpion.
That's a big thing that I really want Cordon and
Hold off in the middle.
Geos and Smokeweed to all
Should we death wish
see
this one or back
from
on
the
pro?
stream.
On pro.
So
We're calling melee.
we'll definitely highlight that for
I mean,
them.
I'm
This
just
is the
logging the timers,
biggest
man.
review
So
part
go
of this
watch
whole
it.
stream right now is learning Twin Emps properly.
Mugu's got
Um,
it. Mugu's got it.
we're only kind of getting
Watch
the viewpoint of one side, but it
We'll
should
do
be the
one more
same
rotation.
across, you know, whatever side you're on.
Watch that.
I'm thinking of
Execute a little bit,
streaming
but
my
watch that, please.
perspective
Blue
when we
limbo.
raid on Tuesday. So we'll
Yeah.
One thing too quick, Arcadis, is I know we had one bad wipe in raid 3. We probably would have, just because there were some
Melee
bugs
out,
that
if
like
you
got
have
near
aggro,
the
you have to
stairs.
stay
Do you see how clear
Phil,
that
fuck
is
on.
for like the hunters and stuff? Like there's nothing near it. If any bugs come up on the stairs to Kriegs, you really just want to pull it away, so that even if they do spawn, you're not fighting it.
Totally agree.
Go that way. What are you doing?
Got to be on
It's a
top of
fucking
clearing
fries
those bugs because an explosion. Everyone should get in the habit of bringing frost protection potions and fire protection potions. Any melee can eat an exploding bug. Anyone can eat a blizzard. It's easy to move out of it. It's easy to avoid it, but that will and has killed people. So
Frost around.
The warlocks
Uh,
need them.
I am.
Clean transitions.
We're
is the
gonna
name of the game,
rewind
man.
it to the
Have
pull.
control.
control fight, guys.
And 1 second, let me pause in the right spot so you can get an
Sniffs.
eye view. Because I just want to explain the left side pull real quick.
Sniffs and pro.
If I can get an
Ready,
eyeball
go
on
for
it. There we go. All right. So this is gonna catch up, and it might be a little slow for some of you other guys, but there's the bottom of the stairs where Veclor starts on the left side. The Warlock is gonna pull him just down to the bottom of the stairs, and all of the caster DPS are also gonna be over there by the stairs on the left side. Healers too. It's not gonna be until the teleport where he moves from the bottom of the stairs to the wall. The tank, the warrior tank is gonna move him to the wall where we want him.
Correct.
So that is something Raid 2 and Raid 3 have been missing out on, and you guys are gonna be able to hopefully fix in future raids.
What I told Raid 3 was kind of casters can just kind of wait until the first teleport happens. Focus on killing any bugs that the hunters might be picking up, and wait until that warrior tank has the left side boss into position underneath or before that torch, because it's going to take until one teleport happens to actually get him into the proper positioning. If otherwise, you've got range stepping up to the midway point, casting while they're next to a bunch of bugs, and if one explodes, then there goes some of your range DPS.
So I am also going to slow it down for the next pull, the Trash After Twin M's, because I also
Yep.
think this is a big part of what's
If
going
you
to
want to pause just for a second.
Yeah, I can pause.
So the tower that Kriegs is at right now is the first LOS spot. That's where you're going to kill Skull. Just to the left of that, you're going to pull the Mind Slayer as best you can behind that pillar. And then on the pillar on the right, on the other side of the doorway, that's where you're going to kill X. So you want to get those two Mind Slayers separated in LOS, because the way their fear works is LOSable. There's a Mind Flay and there's a fear. So you want to kill X, you want to kill Skull behind this first pillar, then you want to move over there, kill X, the next one, and then you got Lashers pulled down, either down the stairs, kind of where Twin Amps were, or in the middle of the Scarabs up top. But you want 2 tanks per mob on this. And actually, one thing Quellen pointed out was it might be better to kill the Lashers first on these. I'm still, I'm not completely sure on that, just because there is a lot of AoE damage they do, and they do die really fast. And I don't really see an issue with it as long as you're, getting rid of or getting out of the LOS of most of the Mind Slayers. But the longer you keep them up, the more chaos they're causing. So I'm still unsure on what to kill first completely. But a lot of speedrunning streams and stuff I've seen, they do kill the Lashers first, the Whirlwinders. So biggest thing is just positioning on this. And Raid 2 and Raid 3, whoever's tanking the Guardian, which is the biggest ad, there's only 1 per pack. Pull that thing all the way back. I don't know if Cruz is going to get to see me tanking it on this next pull, but I pull it all the way back.
Again, multiple times throughout the pull, just so that people can see the different angles, and we can go over that stuff. But yeah, all the way in the back. And I also slowed it down. It's 0.75 right now. I'm not sure if it's this pull or the next one where Chicken gets mind controlled and fucked.
That's me.
No. Okay, I'm gonna set up a pause right here just to go over a quick healer thing too. So where Krieg's was is decent. It's really good if you're gonna be a primary assigned tank healer, because you're gonna be on top of your tank, right? You're always gonna be in the vicinity that they are. If you're not a primary assigned tank healer, I would take the spot where we've got Blow G, looks like. right here on the stairs in the middle, and it looks like he's far enough to outrange all of the Mind Slayers except for the one in the middle. So you could even take a wider range depending on who you know you're going to prio heal. Like if you're going to help 2 tanks on the right side and your melee DPS, you could probably get even further out. And if you're going to be on casters and like 2 tanks on the left, you can come all the way on down the stairs or hit that stair edge, and maybe we can pull this Diamond Mind Slayer all the way back to the back wall, Arcadis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking that might be kind of a shitty position to have it, honestly.
Yeah, so the first thing that went wrong with this pull is those Mind Slayers made it all the way back to where I'm taking that Guardian. That's why it's nice to have 2 tanks per. Especially, you need to have 2 tanks for the Guardian. It's optimal to have 2 per Mind Slayer and optimal to have 2 per the Lashers because they do drop threat when they whirlwind and spin around. But yeah, those Skull X and Diamond made it all the way back to where I'm taking that Guardian. So like having a taunt go out right when they get to the doorway, that might cause the main tank to get feared, and that's when the backup tank just pulls it back. See where X is now? That's perfect LOS positioning. As long as the rest of the raid is moved over kind of where square is being brought right now. So you want to kind of completely separate your raid from getting mind flayed from another position. Obviously, there's going to have some healers and casters assigned to other areas in the room, like 2 healers for the Guardian. Drug Mule, if you're going to be taking the Guardian at all, ask for a fear ward. Make sure that the Guardian's the one right in front of the stream right now where I'm tanking. It's like the big beetle looking guy. He does fear and he does drop threat when he fears. So you just have a backup tank around the corner, taunt him and bring him back to where you're taking them.
Sounds good.
Champion, not Guardian, sorry. X is perfect positioning for, so you can even stack X and square maybe, or like, but like having it, square could go to where skull is, correct. But it's where it is right now is not optimal because it can get anyone in the room right now. This trash, so twin imps before, the trash before twin imps and the trash after is the most difficult part of any trash in AQ40.
Yeah, I'm gonna speed it up just a little bit, but we can still have some talking points on it.
Okay. Pet poles are probably going to be best, or maybe even mounted like that, but chicken gets caught right there.
Yeah.
Anyone in line of sight who's at the start of the pole is probably going to die. So
Yeah.
you really want to pull these back.
Does freedom work for that,
No.
Arcadis?
No, so it's actually like a debuff. It's like a debuff that fears you. It's not actually like dispellable or anything like that. There's a mind flay that I think is interruptible, but the mana burn is like a red.
I was thinking
debuff.
more of the slow, because like for both me and Chicken, it looks like we both got caught after we got hit with a mind flay. So would that be, is mind flay freedomable?
I don't know.
I doubt it. I don't think so.
So
I think maybe having a bop or something for them while they pull could maybe work. But
I think if we
so,
mount pull, it would be a little easier than trying to run with Cheetah
Okay.
on.
So the
That works too, yeah.
Slayer didn't go anywhere and didn't kill anyone when we killed him like third to last.
Yeah, it's It doesn't become a problem until a little bit later on in the hallway. You'll see.
Okay.
Um,
For these pools, it might be worth just killing them like third or fourth.
for these pools, I think Mind Slayers are best killed first because you do have these LOS spots. But as you go down the hallway, there's less spots to kind of take mobs to. And I think that's when they kind of like we're all kind of grouped a little bit more in the hallway. So I think that's when they become a better kill target. Using this room is optimal, but I think we make the call to move in at this point.
Yeah, I think it's because. Well, let's just go over this poll real quick. So Slayer dies. Too many people are in a bad spot. Melee is not a big deal, but we had healers, casters there too. Looks like we're about to get like 3 Slayer deaths early, and we had poor positioning just across the board, I think. Yeah, Krieg's LOS'd it. It's pretty smart. But yeah, what I was gonna say is, so I think we're calling to move in because you didn't experience this hallway kill. Because even if we do a skip later on, I think you can skip every pack except for the very last one, and you fight them in a hall, and you have to know these mechanics very well because you'll get like madness or whatever it's called or feared into another pack if you're not careful.
Yeah, there are a few spots when you get up here, like the whatever rock structures those are in the middle. You can kind of pull them behind. Healers need to be having good communication with their tanks on these pulls because you need to be moving around corners. And if your tank pulls something around the corner and you don't follow him, then he's probably going to die. So it's really important healing assignments come into effect as best as they can for this hallway. I think now that we understand most of this trash, we should probably be pulling this faster. Like all this trash probably has taken up most of the trash time throughout the instance.
Yeah, and death slows down a lot too. So.
Yep.
Eugenics died immediately. What was that, 2 Slayer?
I'm not there yet. Eugenics died to something coming up and cleaving him, I think. The champions do cleave, so I think what happened there was Melee ran up to start killing Skull, and the champion was running right at him before it got pulled around the corner, and they immediately got cleaved. I think that's what happened to Eugenics. He also probably could have gotten whirlwinded. So when you're in the hallway here, it's important to.
Actually, that's the one where I
let the
got
tanks.
and mind flayed right in front of him.
Okay, so yeah, either way, I think the best thing to do when you're doing these hallway pulls is let the tanks establish all of their locations, and then once you see them all pulled out into their separate spots, that's when you can go in. No one else should be eating any mind flays and anything like that until the fight's established. Let the tank eat a mind flay. Let their backup tank pick it up.
Do we have any leftover tanks, like a third tank? There were multiple instances where Kyle and I were both basically
This is what I was trying to say earlier about, if you're a warrior, you should be expected to tank on this. I know JB stepped up a couple times, but Wasabi, Glue, like anyone who's a warrior and they see their main tank get feared or drop threat, need to just throw on a shield or go in a defensive stance and throw a taunt out and just tank it until the tank's back in position?
So we actually did more than that, Arcadis. For our last or second to last officer meeting, we talked about tanks 6 through 10, essentially, or it might not even be 10. It might be like the first 8 tanks, but we have roles for the Fury Warriors moving past our first 5 tanks, so you'll know when you need to pick things up or what targets you need to be watching, and we're going to talk about it at the beginning of the raid so that you'll know.
We'll post them too. I think it's important to make those for. So that was an enraged Slayer killing a bunch of people that I just saw.
You want me to rewind it?
No, I think I'm a little bit behind you, so it's just important to like. I don't know. I think some of these trash, when you have more than 2 or 3 Slayers in a group, probably good to kill a couple of them first.
Absolutely.
Oh, we got a red one.
No. Oh, yeah, that was Galadon. Being a bit who. Do we have any learnings for the next? Well, we have one more pack, but
The next packs, when it changes up from Slayers and Mind Flayers, they should all just be cleaved.
Okay.
The 2, what are they called? I'll wait until after this pack. So I can actually
Eradicators?
see the names. They're not eradicators. They're very similar.
Yeah.
The 2 smaller ads can be stacked and cleaved. They have a really low health pool. And then the big one is killed last.
Okay. I did pause it right here. Whenever you catch up,
I think. Yeah, I'm still catching up. I think.
I'd like to set up for this last pack. So this is what I was talking about. Like, we might get to a point where what we do is we actually just kill the very first pack in the Twin Apps room, and then we can skip everything else all the way until this pull where we have to kill it. And we can do that, but I want to make sure we have like proper positioning where the tanks are going to pull each of these ads so that we can have like a decent setup for no deaths. And I'm not sure exactly where to start with that. I would imagine that we kill a Slayer or 2 at, like right away and just deal with the Mind Flayers. Like maybe pull Slayers. What are they? Slayers or slashers? Fuck, man.
Slayers.
Slayers. So we pull Slayer 1 and 2 to this front right side of the tunnel right away and like cleave the shit out of both of them and kill them. Like just murder them as hard as we can. And I'll hit play in a sec, but after the Slayers are dead, we could move to the Mind Flayers. They'll die pretty quick, but I want them to be spread. Like, no one should be in the very back for this. There should be no one behind the flare pull position. I think that the flare should be back right corner. And there's another one, so back left corner. And then it's like a 4-corner setup. So we have the champion front left, Slayers front right, and then Mind Flare, back right, back left. And everyone gets a decent middle position ground, casters included. And then the melee just do a circle clockwise where we do front right, back left. I don't know. That's my best idea I can come up with.
Yeah, it makes sense. It keeps people in the back kind of free and not getting whirlwinded, and all the damage and heavy liftings at the front of the entrance.
And to give everybody a distance perspective too, like I'm thinking that we should pull those and then 60 yards back maybe. That's the Mind Flayer, which is weird. It's going to be a little wacky on the pull. The Mind Flayer's got to make it all the way. Both of them have to make it all the way to the back. So wait. Yeah, because it makes sense because we're killing the Slayers right off the bat.
So the nullifier is what they're called. You can kill these skull necks really fast and then kill the big one last. He does his AoE fire thing, but it literally hits for maybe like 200, 300 damage. It's extremely minimal. He did it once on like the next pull, I think, and it was a joke.
Yeah, they melt. So we should probably move into that pool. I don't know. Mana seemed okay. Following the nullifiers, the 2 nullifier packs. Guess we waited on this pack to pull, which isn't a big deal either. But I think we can make a quick pull out of it if we have like high mana. We could just let Ganker call that, I think, since he's kind of watching healer mana. Okay, wow. So we have them all cluttered up on that first pack that we pull. I don't know if we want. I mean, typically we want to spread them, but yeah, we kind of fucked up there. Actually, I think. Like, well, let me know when you're at that spot.
Let me refresh my page.
So it's back to the Mind Flayer Slayer Champion pulls. We have 2 packs in between Oreo and Cthulhu. And we made that pull, and it looks like we just left the Mind Flayers like next to each other for a really long time. Probably 2 minutes. Minute and a half, maybe. I don't know. We made the right call here. We slammed another nullifier pack. There we go. And then we got ready for the Slayer Mind Flayers.
Okay, I see now. We can probably move into this pack. Immediately pull that triangle to the left, kill Skull and X stacked, pull the square and moon out. That would be my guess. Try to get separation from the start as best you can using those backup tanks. But when you have this big of a room, we can definitely move into the pack and just burn Skull and X as best we can. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Nullifier packs are easy. Mind Slayer packs just need some separation.
I'm skipping ahead a little bit just because we're just watching Trash Killing into the
Yep.
Cthulhu. Speeding it up. So this is going to be something that we need to think about too, for expediting our speed runs, which, we're not necessarily speed running yet, guys, but we want to practice for it. We want to optimize. We want to get prepped, and we want to not waste DMF when it comes back. So, something to think about for each individual raider, and then for the officers, we expect this to be implemented as well. But this transition from that trash going into Cthulhu is going to be saving us seconds, maybe even a couple minutes if we're really good about it in the beginning. We probably had some conversations and some buffing that we were doing. We need to make sure that's already good. We go through those packs deathless. We move right into the pull spot for Cthulhu. We know who's going to be taking first aggro, which I think right now for Raid 1 is Pro Blazer. We allow him to do his job, and we immediately take our positions. So, we might, I think the goal will probably be to eat up maybe 15 seconds in between everyone getting up to the spot and then getting into position and going. So it's going to be something where you got to be ready to just fly at it, because Cthulhu himself doesn't seem to be terribly difficult.
Mm-mm.
I think what we've seen right now is that Pro is able to soak, 4 I-beams?
It's 4 to 5 I-beams. It's basically he soaks every I-beam until any threat is done to the boss. So he sucks. He goes in. He goes outside of the wall. You see him eating the first 4 to 5 beams, and then people start attacking. That's when the beams start changing. Like the biggest thing about the beam is it's not deadly unless it changes more than 2 people. So like melee groups have to be super smart about stacking directly on each other and making sure that they're not in range of another stack of 2 people next to them. In this video also, you can see Krieg standing on top of that claw tentacle. You would need to put a body on them as soon as they spawn, or they'll start moving around the room and knocking up other people. The only way to stop them from doing that is by standing on them. And they don't hit that hard. Like Krieg's is a priest, he can tank it. They also die really fast. So it's pretty much just kill anything that pops up. And then the only most deadly thing in here is an I-beam chaining more than 2 melee. So really work on your positioning on this fight. Make sure you're talking with your person in your group. Make sure you guys know where you go every week. That's gonna be the most important thing.
Okay, so this is a big conversation for healers. Sorry. So something that I want to go over is that a lot of you, I'm sure, have noticed this already, but there ain't no way you're wasting all your mana. Like you could try as hard as you want, you ain't gonna burn it. It's gonna plenty. And there's gonna be several situations where you're not getting any I-beams in phase 1, and maybe late phase 2 and 3. There's not a lot of healing to go out. So you can optimize yourself. Put some damage. Like paladins are obviously going to go into these tentacles, these I-beam tentacles in phase 2 and Hodge. Get some damage out. When a tentacle spawns on you in phase 1, get some damage out. Eye tentacle is obviously too far, but they might have some that spawn in the back or in the middle on you, depending on your position. And you're probably, it's very unlikely, but you're probably not going to need both your trinkets to be optimal healing trinkets either. So I expect my paladins to have Arcanite Dragonlings for phase 3. And
I would have people with ZHC, healers with ZHC, smiting during invuln phase, stuff like that.
That's a potential, yeah. We should be able to rotate it in a way that makes sense. Paladins makes the most sense just because they're going to be meleeing the boss. So you'll have Arcanite. You should have 5 Arcanite Dragonlings for the boss in phase 3. What else did I want to say?
Hey, Red, on the note of Arcanite Dragonlings, I was dropping mine a little early before Invuln would start, and it was working perfectly. You'd even get a stack up ahead of
So
time.
as a hunter, I actually think you should be using yours in phase 1. Oh, that was my second topic. So it took us 6 minutes and 23 seconds to kill Cthulhu. We could have done it a little bit faster, absolutely. We could say we're way better than that. We could say that we're going to one phase him and all that stuff, and that's great. I definitely think that's true. Even if we do that, though, I don't think we're killing him in sub 5 minutes. So it's very likely that if you pop a cooldown and a trinket that's a 3-minute cooldown or trinket and less, you will have it back up for his vuln. Think about that. You can immediately go to town on him in phase 1 because of how there's no
A
threat.
big thing I wanted to point out is melee should be on the other side right now.
Yeah,
because
there's a.
he
should be
has
on
a front
the.
and a back, and the back is by the entrance, so you won't get parries on the other side.
That's also
Agreed.
important.
Like looking at the logs, I had 20 something parries, which is a ton of damage.
Yeah, so where the video is right now, the altar, that's his face. That's gonna be the front side where you parry, and if you're on his backside, which is the stairs coming into the room, that's gonna be the backside, and that's where you want all your melee positioned. Deathwish Wreck, pop full cooldowns on full in face.
Deathwish is 3, right?
3 minutes. Yep.
Yeah,
You can
so
pop it at the start,
warriors you
and
could probably do right on the pull and then again on vuln. But yeah, those are the specifics on what we can, the little small things we can do to optimize this fight. Other than that, it's obviously knowing your position extremely well to the point where you're not going to chain an I-beam. That'll help save lives. If you see the, what are they called? Not the eye tentacle. Yeah, little eye tentacles, the tiny ones. And slaughter them. You know, put a little instant cast damage or whatever you need to. Melee, whack them. Get rid of them early. And everybody be prepared to congregate in phase 2 on the back stairs or near the back stairs. We had some people like, I don't think all of them were assigned, but we just had a lot of melee like completely spread in a circle around him during phase 2, which doesn't make any sense because one, you're asking for a bad technical spawn, possibly on you, where everyone else can't get to it, and then the second scenario is, you know, you're helping out the melee group that's killing eye tentacles, but you're not assigned to it, so. But yeah, Cthulhu's easy. We're really just trying to shred them like crazy fast, faster than you would have ever thought possible. So we're gonna get sweaty and min-max it as much as possible as well.
That's right, Wesley.
DCO, you got bugged that raid too. I don't know if you submitted a report about it, but if
I did.
if anyone experiences that bug, you're probably gonna have to run back.
So what happened to me was I got shot out of the stomach right when he hit 0, so I still had the debuff. And even when I got res inside, I still had the poison. So yeah, you have to run back.
yeah, another thing is if you do kill him while there's people in the stomach, they will not be able to be rezzed. We had that happen our first Cthulhu kill, and Rhetfavre was our master looter, and he was inside, and we killed it, and he had to run back and we had to summon him.
All right, I'm gonna skip ahead too for Oro.
Okay. Oro is our next kind of big topic. We've seen some different strategies. We decided to do a new strategy on this first poll, which I think was a mistake. It's an interesting topic in theory because it's basically saying your range DPS hold the threat, your fire mages particularly, and that means that they never you never basically have a sandblast on your main tanks, which means melee gets staying the whole time. Awesome in theory, difficult to execute. And one of the things we want to work on instead is just having, your off tanks need to be positioned in a way that they're not getting sandblasted, and they also need to be above the other DPS, melee DPS on threat. Another thing we haven't been doing is calling for melee out for sweeps because there's no timer. So we've been seeing tanks get swept, but for some reason, I think there's actually a way to resist a sweep. And if you're the closest melee after a tank gets swept out, then you're tanking and you're gonna die. So like that, you see some DPS still in range after the tanks got swept, and now Oro's turned and hitting them. It's a little bit tricky, and I think one of the best things to do is have our tanks positioned more like 190, almost 200 degrees, rather than 180, so that when the main tank gets sandblasted, there's no risk of them also getting sandblasted. As a fourth tank, you definitely want to have 4 tanks for this fight, just to have an extra backup. The fourth tank should be standing right in melee. That way, if the tanks, all 3 tanks get swept out, you've got your fourth in position, and you just turn him around. You always want to face him around. His sandblast is conal, so anyone standing in front of him when he does the sandblast, it'll also affect them. To control fight, but also I think we need to start calling for melee out, and I think we need to start like an internal 20-second timer and having them step out every 18 seconds, wait for the sweep to go out, kind of treat it like twin M's, wait until you see that tank has aggro on it again, and then you can step in. Because one of the things we're dying to the most is melee getting aggro.
If you go back and rewatch this particular wipe too, you can see that the tanks aren't in range for threat. All the melee stay in. 3 die. I think it's Vincent, then Rended, then Glute. And it eventually goes down in the line to like Quanta. But Quanta is already moving out. He gets hit once, survives, pretty sure, and then he's out of range. So then Oro stops killing him, goes to the next melee or whatever. So, yeah, it's just going to save your life.
If you're melee and you have aggro, just step away, and it'll switch to someone else.
My concern was, did we have all tanks get like blasted away?
The positioning for tanks was really wonky on this fight. I think we see it again in the second attempt, but people intercept back in, move to the tank position, and then the main tank gets stepped back, and then a sandblast goes out. So now you've got 2 people, maybe even 3, getting sandblasted. So it's really good to make sure that where you have your 4 tank positions, and you guys did that mock up the diagram. I think we stick to that. And if you were tank 1 and you got swept away, you're now assuming the 4th tank or whichever tank now is taking over for you, you move to their positioning rather than running back to your normal tank 1 spot. So I think the issue here is definitely
minutes,
tanks.
By the way.
Yeah. Oro and Viscidus cost us, 20 to 30 minutes combined because we wiped once on both of them. Normal strat. This is our normal strat. We still see melee dying here. And even if you're going to die as a melee, just turn him around. Because if a sandblast goes out on the raid, then, everyone's spinning and it's just chaos.
Looks like Oro by himself cost us 17 minutes.
Yeah.
Between both attempts, the wipe, and the delay on the pull. So yeah, a lot of time can be removed if we just start getting crisp with this. Are we going to be doing the Warlock tanks for this next raid, or are we going to wait?
I'd like to practice melee. I like to practice melee stepping out for sweeps and off tanks. Yeah, I think we need to understand how threat works on this fight before we move into a new strat.
All right.
So right there, you can see 1 tank spinning. That's 180 degrees, a little bit more, like 170. And then the main tank also was spinning. They were able to maintain threat because it was still early on in the fight. But every time there's a sandblast, you're dropping threat. So you need to start prioritizing melee out for sweeps and whatnot.
Something else I noticed. So like, you're about to find out, but Quellen is our third tank, I think, on RO, and he moved out for the sweep. The other two tanks got thrown out. He comes back in time to get aggro, but instead Oro murders two other melee before giving him a notice. And then it continues to stay on J Beebs even though Quellen's alive. And then all the melee get blown up. Whew, yeah, that was ugly.
Yeah, we barely killed him.
So obviously the fact that that was a sloppy kill probably cost
Actually,
us another
or did we wipe again? Did we wipe twice? Yeah, we did wipe twice.
Oh wow, yeah. So actually more than 17 minutes. That's nuts. Yeah, we could have a very, very good raid. We just need to go and slam Aura. But we can eat up, probably 10 to 15 minutes as well, just from making sure we know how the trash works.
Yep. I like how Kriegs plays with his character panel open.
Yeah, it's great. He wants to show people what he's rocking. I'm just really watching who he's slapping right now. So is it going to matter where we get his Sandblast directed? Because he's still going to sweep, right?
That's why you want melee to turn around as soon as possible. It's a conal range that I think it's up to 180 degrees. So you want to have him turned around as much as you can from the main tank. Or from the melee, excuse me.
Yeah, but that's just Sandblast, right?
That's just Sandblast. Sweep is 100 or 360.
Yeah. And it looks like he's killing melee off of the sweeps. Not the Sandblast. Sandblasts obviously suck, but I don't think that's
He's killing melee anytime he turns. After a tank loses aggro, he'll just one-shot him, basically. 1 or 2 shot him.
Yeah, but if there's no, the sweep is what knocks people back, right?
The sweep is what knocks people back, and
Yeah.
that's what we should be dodging.
Okay, so that's what's murdering people. We have to play around sweep.
Viscidisc, we're still in the discussion of melee out or melee in. The only viable option with melee in is if every single melee is wearing NR and every single melee has frost weps with frost oils, as well as healers, potentially paladins who are dispelling, also swinging with frost oil and frost weps. We're still kind of going through the math of it. Right now, it looks like it's better just to have melee out from a healer's mana conservation standpoint, and just let your mages knock it out, and then bring in all the melee around Shatter number 1, so that they're there for Shatter 2 and 3. Biggest thing for one-shotting this, no matter what you do, is when he splits into little ads, make sure that the melee are popping Death Wish, moving out to the blobs, doing as much chip damage as you can. Make sure that they have their low health before they come in.
So actually, on the topic of paladins, yeah, guys, paladins, I do want you to farm a frost proc weapon. We have a lot of data that has been confirmed and come in that the classes with several different special abilities do not actually increase the chance that they get to proc per minute these special weapons. So paladins probably have the best chance of proccing the weapons in the game because the Seal of Righteousness actually counts as a second attack, and it just counts as an auto. So it's your regular procs per minute doubled, and that'll probably help us. Plus, you should all have mouse over dispel macro, so you can do that while dispelling everyone at the same time. Because there should be no paladins on a major healing assign for Bisc. It should just be pure dispelling. So get a frost whip. I think we wiped once on Bisc, right? And then we clear them.
Yep.
So I think we did melee out this one.
Yeah, the next one we did melee out.
Yeah, and we had a success. So we'll probably keep it that way just for now. And here's why. Melee in is great for getting Visc done very quickly. We're really just worried about smoothing out the fight right now. Surviving and understanding. Once we get to the point where we're confident everyone has like enough stam in our gear and frost weapons that they're fully prepped, which I think for raid 1 that's definitely close to the case, if not the case already. But we're not totally confident in like period, and we want to make sure that we make this as easy on healers as possible. It was infinitely better as a healer to dispel and to heal when the melee were out, and I think that's because not everyone brought like poison elixirs. So that's another thing. We gotta have proper stam in our gear, cold weapons, and throw some poison elixirs in there. That'll be a full prep for a Visc. And only then, with all 40 people bringing that or the equivalent of that, depending on the class, will you be able to make Visc easy. Because, yeah, look, I think we kept everybody alive, no major damage going out. We did a decent sapper job here. There's a figure 8. I think some people waited a little long. How much health did he have? Yeah, 9%. So
yeah, we've had
we'll
a few
down to 0
people.
after that.
We've had a few people do some pretty big research. Like Rended definitely brought it up. How valuable is melee in, and Kef Tank as well, and pretty much, I wouldn't say it's not worth it, but I would say it's better for like longevity and cleanliness of the fight if melee just stay out completely and then come in for the shatter. The only thing that would be optimal is if everyone, including healers, are all swinging, and even then, like I think when we have 7, 6, 7 mages and frost wands on the warlocks and whatever else, it's just gonna help people stay alive, and all you really need to do is last through that first explosion or whatever, the separation into the blobs, and then you just need to kill all the blobs in one go.
Something else I'd like to say about this is So what's going to happen is, right now the plan is obviously melee out, but after we sapper charge his little globules, we will keep melee in to get him into that shatter phase very quickly, which means a lot of dispels and a lot of healing have to go out. Everyone should be at 100% healers going into that point. We should just get everybody topped, 40 people alive. They all sapper, retop, and then get ready for like a crazy mana intensive max actions per minute amount of dispelling and healing, because we want to keep everybody up through what will probably be definitely two, but probably three more poison novas. And it's going to be rough because it's going to be 40 people, so twice the work. And hopefully people bring some poison elixirs to help you out. So yeah.
Bring proper consumes and make sure you're doing chip damage, and it should be a pretty easy fight.
I think that
POHs are huge.
Do you have anything else you want to bring up for AQ? That's the last clip I have.
Let me check my notes one more time. Sorry, we just pulled demo.
Right. You have blacksmithing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you make me some stuff?
Depends on what you need.
Weight stents and sharpening stents.
Oh yeah. Last thing is kind of just what you brought up at the very beginning of the stream. The whole raid needs to be moving together in the entirety of AQ40 if we're pushing for speed. We can't be waiting for people to be far back and move up. I said it earlier, healers need to be moving up with the tanks and healing and drinking in the front line. This was especially important in MC when we first started speed running, but it's definitely important in AQ as well. Make sure your raid has 6+ tanks and make sure the healers know which of the 6 tanks they're healing. We also covered that in our last meeting, like you said. So we have the information. We have, what we need to tweak and what we don't need to tweak. If anyone else has feedback or anything they want to chime in with or questions, then now would probably be the time. But I do appreciate everyone showing up. And if you didn't show up, don't worry. We streamed it, recorded it. Thank you, Rhett, for that. And we can reflect on what we can do better moving forward. Number one difficulty thing should probably be Twin Emps trash, and then the trash following Twin Emps, and then number 2 is definitely Oro and Visc. Those are the kind of big 3. It's the trash before and after Twin Emps and Visc and Oro. But yeah, if anyone has questions or anything wants to chime in, now would be the good time to do that. I wish everyone the best of luck this next week. I'm really hyped for Raid 2, especially getting a full roster again and going in there with a little bit more of a good comp. And obviously, Raid 3 on Twin Emps, we got up down to 60%, so that should be coming up soon too. I think both raids are perfectly capable of full clearing next week, so really hoping to see that in effect.
Any questions?
Go Hydra spawn for me.
All right, sweet. I'm gonna end stream now.
So, thank you, everyone.